All right. Welcome to the Coach Lodge podcast today, ladies and gentlemen. Today's guest is Shakti Sharma. She's an entrepreneur, business strategist, and creator of the 100K offer system. After spending more than 12 years in corporate leadership at JPMorgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Accenture, Shakti has walked away to build her own business. And she scaled to six figures in just 15 months and has since generated more than $600,000 in revenue. Shakti helps emotionally intelligent, mission-driven entrepreneurs stop chasing dozens of low-ticket sales and instead build one premium offer that reflects true value of their expertise through her signature live training, Sovereign. She teaches business owners how to package their unique knowledge into a premium offer that attracts high-value clients, creates sustainable growth. And today, we're going to dive into how to create this premium offer for people that actually attracts the right audience, why most entrepreneurs underprice themselves, and what it really takes to build a business around your expertise instead of consistently chasing more clients. Shakti, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me today. I am super excited to dive into this conversation with you, Matthew.
Yes, this is going to be so much fun. So just so we can enlighten the audience, tell me, what is some of the things that you've been up to? What have you been creating so far?
I have been just looking at the whole process of building business and bringing in innovative ways of cutting through a lot of mental chatter. So, can I take you with me to this point earlier this year where I took myself on a spiritual retreat? And believe it or not, one day, all of a sudden, I felt so much frustration in myself because I felt like that I'm pouring so much in my business, working so hard, and the return that I'm getting is still not up to the par. And I had this moment of frustration. And when you're just trying everything you can, but you know that the caliber of where your business can be and where you can be, the potential is still is still missing the mark. And that's exactly where I was. So in that moment, I did not know what else I could do better. And then I went through my whole day, and all of a sudden, something shifted. An epiphany dropped. And all of a sudden, I had the idea, this like insight in my brain, that the reason why I was so frustrated is because I have been putting myself and my business into small boxes. And I really felt super inspired to just let go of the boxes. And when I say boxes, what I really mean is sometimes we're in a coaching box. Sometimes we are in a price box that whatever we create must meet constraints set by the industry we are in, right? And I decided in that moment, I do not want to operate from a box. And I come from corporate, and I stopped myself from labeling my work as coaching work or consulting work, and I started being a lot more broader and think creatively. With the skills I have and the work I do, where else could this be valuable? And all of a sudden, I went deeper into this reflection, and I came out with a 100K offer. And the next thing I know, like within a matter of a day, hours, and just a couple days without a funnel, I had people raising their hand and saying, hey, they're interested in learning more about what I do. Basically, what I did was I created an offer, took all the work I do in helping people find their deeper emotional intelligence, and I applied that for high performance teams. And now people started getting really curious and wanting me to actually share this work with their teams. And thankfully, I do have some network. I do come from corporate. So applying that to my warm network was easy. And I did not create any sales funnel. I did not create any landing page. And just over WhatsApp messages, I did my whole first test drive in Bangalore, India at that point. And that's when my eyes open up, and I've really felt I have to share this with the world. Like, how easy can it be to create offers that actually capture your full genius when they are not put into boxes, when they are open and free and allow you to really step into the potential of what you are here to serve.
But that is an incredible story. So let's take a little bit of a step back. What was it like at that moment when you were trying to build, you come out of corporate, right? Now, to set the framing here, you were working in high-level corporate industry. You were running billions of dollars of accounts. And so you got all this expertise and knowledge in you. So first of all, you were in a position that was very sought after, right? You'd been in this job for how many years? What was the transition like? What did that feel like to go from corporate to wanting to start your own business?
Yeah, it was actually very easy transition because back in 2014, I spent 12 years in corporate. And back in 2014, I hit a point where I was at the pinnacle on both ends. So in my career side, I had just finished my MBA from University of Chicago Booth School of Business. I was able to leverage my MBA to switch into management consulting. And that was the dream job. With the right degrees and right work experiences, I was now at a point where I was traveling every Monday morning, going to client site, doing the whole week of work, staying in best hotels, eating at really great restaurants, coming home Thursday. I was living the lifestyle, okay? And on the personal side, I was 8 months pregnant with my first baby. And I was married to my soulmate, living in Chicago downtown. Life was great, could not be better. But somehow I was so much in my hustle that just didn't know how to pause and celebrate and how to take all these accomplishments in and feel so fulfilled with it. And one moment, something just super silly happened. Me and my husband had a very quiet argument where he said something and that just pierced my heart. It just cracked open my heart. And I felt so much pain that I did not know what it is and why. I was just so sensitive in that moment. So pregnant woman couldn't sleep the whole night, kept tossing, turning, got up next morning, and something in my body said, go leave the house. And I left the house, checked myself in a hotel, closed the doors, and just cried so much. My heart was still hurting, and I could feel that void in my heart. And when you are just always running around in your life and putting that armor on, and there's always a mask, and then when you finally have your safe place where nobody's watching you, nobody's judging you, you don't owe any answer to anyone, and all you do is just like your body just like releases, just like all the tension held, all that you've been trying to hold inside, being so strong and confident for the world. And when that all comes out, I was just crying and crying. But something so magical happened in that moment. For the first time, I heard a voice in my head, like the voice of my intuition. And she started explaining to me everything about why this argument hurt so bad. She shared with me, these are the generational patterns that you saw growing up. Your parents always fight, and now that has become your baseline. And I had no idea about what any of that meant because I was so type A. Then she told me, I asked her, why do I feel so empty in my heart? Like, why do I feel this void when it comes to my career? Why I'm not fulfilled? And she said, because you have abandoned your heart in making all these career decisions, you've not honored yourself. And she showed me all these flashbacks of why I took on, wanted to pursue engineering because my mom wanted it. I came to the US, somebody else wanted it. Why even in management consulting, I did it because that was a thing to do. And like all of these things just landed and felt so true. And this voice has been the most powerful truth I have ever heard in my life. You know, when you're trying to avoid the truth and you stay busy, right? But then you need to hear it. You need your cage to be rattled for you to really wake out of the slumber you've been in. So that voice really led me forward and shared, like when it was time to leave corporate, I knew it inside me that this is my time. When it was time to jump into entrepreneurship, things just happened without having a proper plan, a proper saving, a proper case. It just happened. And that is really, this has become the foundation of the work I do with clients in helping them cutting on the time it takes to be successful, the speed, all the mental chatter, all the doubts, all the sabotage that happens inside us every single day of our life. And same thing happens with clients when they work with me. They tap into themselves so deeply. I had a client sell her 150K offer, created a program completely out of inspiration, sold it to a hospital, and got a 150K contract right away.
Wow, I love that. I got goosebumps listening to your story, and it is the moments, right? There's the moment in our lives where we have to listen and be open to learning and experiencing that something new and better is going to happen. We get caught up in our own worlds, our cycle, our whirlwinds, and sometimes we don't just stop to think or experience or to feel what's next in our lives, right? Like there could be better purpose, and I can relate to that. It's important context. I love your journey of how you've taken, you went from corporate into this. Now tell me about this, right? You've moved from corporate, you've gone into your business, new business. What was that journey like? Talk to me a little bit about that, going into your business and the growth.
Yeah, it was challenging because part of my brain was programmed that I left a very high salary, basically. I walked away from a pretty high salary. So my brain was programmed and started judging everything as failure because I didn't meet that standard, that internal standard that my nervous system got used to. So I suffered the first 6 months. I suffered, but I also realized part of my challenge was capacity. So I had a brick and mortar business, and I started that business from scratch, a yoga studio and healing center in Bay Area, California. And what happened was, again, divine alignment led me to it, but that space could hold only 6 people at a time. And when you have a yoga studio, you want a lot of space because you have certain fixed cost and you want to maximize your return on it. And I hit capacity constraint because it won't fit more than 6 people. So I started getting restless and not knowing now what do I do. I am in a lease. I can't break the lease. Very logical reasoning. There's nothing else I can do. Again, doing all this work on myself and reconnecting with my intuition, I had a vision that there's going to be an expansion that will happen. I don't know how, I did not know when, but I had this vision that where the block my studio was located, on the same block, there's gotta be another place that I have to take over and expand and do my healing work separate and yoga classes separate. So did not know what and when and how it'll all happen. Within a matter of couple months, the business next door completely went out of business. The space opened up. And I just kept believing and called up my landlord, like, hey, I see a space open up on this block. What are you thinking about it? And he says, Shakti, yeah, I'm planning on bringing a brewery in. And I'm like, Alan, are you kidding me? I have a yoga studio next door. People like drinking outside is not good for my business. And we're still yet to talk about possibility of me leasing the space. But this guy was so much in love with brewery that I didn't even bring anything up. And I said, okay, keep me posted. And within a matter of 2 weeks, their permit was denied by the county. They didn't get a permit to sell beer next door.
Yeah.
And that's it. I jumped on it, got the space, expanded it, and this is how I got to my first 10K months, by trusting and believing in myself.
Incredible. So from what I'm hearing from you is that there was this growth. You've come out of your corporate role and you've got to this place where you've got this intuition, this belief inside yourself that something good is going to come out of this. There's something great is going to happen within your business and in your growth. And you believed in yourself and in your vision to be able to, and it's driven you to move forward. Is that correct?
It is, but it's slightly more deeper and richer. It's not that there's belief in something good coming out, but it's exact plan that needs to happen. It's shown to me. So I'm a clairvoyant, and when I close my eyes, I see images. I hear things, I see colors. So there's a plan that is shared with me. And that is really a function of, we have body and we have spirit, and really bringing them together on that plan, and then just stepping into massive trust and knowing this is what you're working on. And really that becomes the foundation of the expansion.
Incredible. So how did you go from this? You've got your yoga studio happening. You got solid, and now you're earning 10K months. What did it look like to go into this next transition for $100,000 offers?
Before I talk about that, I gotta tell you that I actually ended up expanding at another location, again led by intuition. And then pandemic happened and I lost my both studios. The studios got shut down because in California we had 18-month-long business shut down because we were level 5 at the risk of during the pandemic. So I transitioned out and I'm like devastated, Matthew, because my business was my life. I like built it from bare hands with nobody, no backing, and just getting to know one client at a time. And again, my intuition spoke, thankfully. Like I was processing a lot of grief, and I'm not gonna just minimize that because there was so much grief. I felt like I lost my identity. I did not have any purpose. And luckily, again, intuition kept telling me, Shakti, it's your time to take your work deeper. And I didn't understand what that meant, but it really meant is being able to serve each client at a deeper level. So it's not just a yoga class, a healing session, 1 hour here, there, but it's really dedicating yourself to the success of somebody that matters. And that has been the foundation of my work since then. It's like, instead of playing the numbers game, how do I really support one person at a time for them to go deeper so that they also get results faster. And that led me to doing more coaching work, high ticket sales, marketing, business growth. But then what happened early this year just blew my mind away, because now I have perfect opportunity to go even deeper, whether it's with organizations, with other businesses. And that's really why this is why I wanted to share this with everybody, because I think we all are sitting on that massive opportunity. If we allow ourselves to step away from what's happening now and questioning the status quo and questioning what else can I do that allow me to blow up those limits of capacity, or the offer I have, like what else is possible. And that inquiry led me here.
So, talk to me about what it looked like. What was the transformation from where you were from that business to creating $100,000 offers? Because when I hear the idea of creating a $100,000 offer, I'm like, is that even possible? How does that even work? What does that look like? What was the learning experience for you to understand this model?
I think the biggest part, as I said, there was a lot of grief I had to navigate, complete sense of loss of my identity, who I am, to kind of see what you created completely shut down and die. That was like the big part of the layers I had to process internally. These are more emotional layer I had to work with. My mind also started to lose its trust. I noticed that it started to be in fear more. But at the same time, you know how we are experiencing duality, Matthew? I don't know if you've ever experienced, like, heard that or yourself came to that realization. Like at some point, there's stuff happening in your life that does not feel comfortable at all. But at the same time, there's stuff happening that feels so expansive. So my yoga studios were closed down, but I moved to the forest, created a retreat center here. So was that a really death of a business? No, it was a transition of a business. My body, my brain wasn't always recognizing it, which made it a little bit harder. But that, just to realize how life keeps giving, and how everything that is happening is divine intervention and is taking you to a place that is even more expansive. Coming back to the trust of that has been really transformative for me. And I use a lot of like nervous system regulation tools, intuitive energy work, really taking care of my body, and just living in the forest just fundamentally changes your brain, how you think, and that permission to like really slowing down came in handy. And what I started noticing is that my standards for my own self, my standards for how much time I give to myself really went up. And my relationship with my body, my emotions, my intuition, all just went like up and deeper at the same time. And I think that foundation really supported in creating this 100K offer. Obviously, it took many tears for the last 6 years to get here, but I think that me recognizing this is non-negotiable. My care for my body is non-negotiable. My time to slow down is non-negotiable. And then from there, if that's non-negotiable, what's the next logical choice to make? Work with clients where all of my creativity, all of what I have to offer is supporting fewer clients, and I get to go deeper with them, and I get to serve them more, and I get to really help them get the result that they really need.
Love it. And so as we dive into this, because I love that whole context, so it's way more than just the offer. It's understanding the mechanics of creating your offers, and you're helping people with way more than just that. There's a lot that goes around it. So Shakti, that's all amazing. Talk to me a little bit about the system that you have, the way you're helping people create these high ticket offers, these 100K offers. What does that all look like?
Well, I see the reason the system exists is because I see far too many entrepreneurs who go from launch after launch, and I see them exhausted. I see them drained, and they're constantly busy. They're constantly hustling, and sometimes it is actually still a struggle to sell their work. And not only that, they're hitting many different subconscious limits that are capping their income and creating an invisible income ceiling. And sometimes it's really hard to even know why, business feels stuck or not actually growing to the level you want it to grow to. The system really helps people to take their business to the next level, and the steps are quite simple. The step number one is align. And this is the step that what I'm talking about, really being able to tap into your own answers, really being able to tap into your own self, to be super clear on what is it that you're doing and what is it that how you want to serve the world, and the identity transformation that happens. Who do you need to be in order to get your business to the next level? There are obviously, if somebody's making, let's say if somebody's making 30K a month and now they want to make 100K a month, that's a pretty big jump to their nervous system. Their nervous system needs that level of internal prep to really get used to that new number and making that their new reality. And we take care of all that in step number one, which is align. The step number two here is create. When you have an alignment, is not one step, it's not a linear journey, it happens with every other step. But creating your 100K offer that you really feel confident about, that takes everything you know, all the expertise you have, integrate all your different life experiences that life has prepared you to teach, to really serve. We bring that together, your expertise, in an integrated way, and scale that up. And in the sense, like before, if you were solving a 30K problem, now we scale it up for you to solve a $1 million problem that exists for somebody else. And this may sometimes require a category shift, a different type of buyer, but the whole idea is really to scale up, to scale down that depth, but scale up the impact that you get to create from your work. The next step in the system is market. And this is really about creating your visibility campaign and being known and being heard for your visibility, for your expertise. And how do you create marketing campaigns that actually start to dominate the market in a way where you are really leading forward with your emotional intelligence. A lot of this, especially market, I've spent I think 8 years. I've spent this whole life actually studying marketing, and there is a way to command attention. And Matthew, where you can look at two different messaging at the same time, that may be sharing the same result, but what's really spoken with aliveness, what really holds the fire, really commands attention. And this is where all of that emotional intelligence that we've been honing in on with the step number one, align, really comes in handy. How do you infuse that life in your messaging? And that's really an art. So we really use the emotions and really connect with the audience and start to warm them up, start to heat up the market, start to really explode with all that you have to offer. And the next step is transmit. And that is really leveraging one-to-many sales, event-based sales format, where you get to share with people about your work, you give them taste of the transformation and allow people who are ready to really work with you.
So there's 4 key steps, right?
There's one more, and I often club it with the whole transmit, but there's a whole thing about close. How do you close on the calls? And I struggle with this one a lot, okay? Because I was never good at asking for what I need. But what I learned over the years in my entrepreneurship journey is how every sales conversation can be an act of holding space for a potential buyer to make a decision. And when I started really shifting how I conduct sales calls, my conversion rate really shot up. And I know the industry standard is like 50% is like the benchmark that you should always aspire for. I don't really comply by those rules and really had my conversion rate shot up to 75%. And even people who were tentative and not sure, when I started really holding space for where they are emotionally and help them guide to the decision within themselves and the clarity they held, selling offers was a lot easy.
Love it. So I just wanted to go reiterate on this because this sounds really interesting and unique. So you got step one, work with me. This is a line, right? Mm-hmm. Step two is?
Create.
So this is creating the offer.
Yeah.
Now what I love about this, right, and you were talking about this, you've got a line which is about setting your intention, getting your nervous system in a place to actually accept that it's possible and to be able to create that offer, right? And so when people want to create the offer, they can't, if you're creating a 100K offer, if you just create the offer, you might not believe it. You might believe it yourself. Your nervous system is working against you. So that's why you have a line, and that's what's so important, right, is to get your nervous system in a place to accept and believe and to be 100% into that offer. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Before you have even sold anything, it's so important to upgrade that internal operating system so that these parts of you are not sabotaging your success. They are coming on board to where you want to direct all that focus energy in creating an outcome that you really want to see happen in your business. So I really start with align, because not only you're upgrading your nervous system, you're regulating it to that 100K offers, but you're also being so clear on what that vision is that you're holding within yourself. You are so clear on what is that life purpose that you've come in. How do you relate with that purpose? How do you feel so confident and validated in like you're the chosen one for the work you're offering?
That's so powerful. So we go from alignment, and that's amazing. You go into the offer. Now your offer creation is step two.
Yep.
And then step three is marketing. And so this is a problem I see people trying to do marketing before they've created this 100K offer. Talk to me about, so now you believe in your offer, you're creating the offer, but the offer has to be built around the marketing, I'm assuming, because that's your next step. Talk to me a bit about that. What is the mechanism of the offer, and why is it so important before doing marketing?
Unless there's an offer created, it's really hard to actually be clear on what is your message. What stand are you taking? How are you really bringing a new thought leadership? Who your ideal client is? What is it that they need to hear? What objections are they sitting within their mind that make them not believing this transformation is possible for them? So that's why once that offer is clear and you're so clear on that you are serving this one particular client, it is a lot easier than to create the right messaging and then to create the campaigns that take that message even further. And how do you start then creating a buzz around your work? And I don't have much experience with paid advertisement. All my work is very organic, and it's really like funneling all that brilliance in you, the energy, the aliveness in you, that emotional intelligence in you, that relatability, that connection with your audience, that community, and really bringing that in your marketing campaigns.
Amazing. Love it. So step two is creating your offer, which is a very important ingredient to finding the right person that's going to buy that 100K offer. Then we go into marketing. After marketing, you have?
Transmit, which is really selling in the one-to-many format.
Right. Amazing. So now you got marketing. Marketing is establishing the breadth of your audience, or going out there and attracting the people, right? So why is that so important, and how does that fit into your next step?
So marketing really allows you to really use your events and start selling the tickets of your events. So it allows you to capture all this attention and then send it towards this one event that you get to host and facilitate and let people get a taste of your work. So what I recommend and what I have also practiced and learned is like really bringing these communities together and letting people come together who want the same thing, and let them identify with the result that you're offering. Let them identify with the room that you're hosting. Let them identify with other people who want the same things and are on the same journey of experiencing their struggle, their challenges, and desiring the breakthroughs, desiring the results. And that whole identification part of it is what marketing does. And then you get to bring people in a room, showcase your expertise, give them value, lead them in a transformation, offer those identity shifts in real time, allow them to get a feel of your work. What does it mean to be held by this person? And when I, in my moments of experiencing all kinds of things and challenges, can this person hold space for me? Can I trust how they're talking to me? Can I trust their voice? Can I trust their leadership? And all of that happens in that whole transmit step.
So that's incredible. So why one-to-many selling versus selling one-to-one traditionally? How does that come into play, and what does that mean for you?
There's a whole energetic aspect of, creating this energetic container. But the biggest piece is you have like-minded people in the room. It starts to create a movement. But then there's like social proof. Everybody's wanting the thing, and you feel more comfortable and confident in your right to have that result. So it frees people from a lot of shame. Sometimes people have all kinds of shame. Should I be asking for more? Even in growing your business, a lot of people, especially women, Matthew, we've been like trained that you should be grateful for the little you have. And my mother didn't want much. My grandmother never even dared to ask for much. And especially for women, we're breaking paradigms of what we're allowed to have in the past, and now bringing group of people together who want the same things. Heck yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this together. And in the same way, from somebody from a selling perspective, it really builds that social proof. It builds trust. You get your question answered. Everything is super compact, concise, laser focused. All the information you need to make an educated decision is right there. And then when you do it right, when you really provide an identity shift in the room, when you start creating a buyer's momentum in the room, selling and closing becomes a lot easier.
That's amazing. And then finally, and I love this because we're encapsulating this, you talk about the close and how important it is. And we know in business, money is never made when you're selling, right? Money is made when you're closing. So talk to me about what that means, that step 5 that you have there, that kind of wrapped around the other step.
Yeah. Money moves fast. Money loves speed. It loves to move fast. And all it needs is somebody's emotionally activated desire, somebody feeling that desire to have a result, to have a new reality, and then deep trust. So a lot of this work happens in step 4, transmit already. But in these, I still do one-on-one calls. I love doing one-on-one calls. I get so much value out of it. I learned so much about people. But it's allowing potential buyers to really tap into what is their emotionally activated desire. And one example that comes to my mind is housing industry, right? People spend millions of dollars every single day in buying houses, right? And why? And the money moves so fast. Within a matter of 2 to 4 weeks, they close on a house. Why does money move so fast? Is because on the other end of it is somebody's emotionally activated desire. Somebody's dreaming about living in the house. Somebody's already picturing themselves raising their kids in that house. Somebody wants to grow their garden, their vegetable garden in the backyard. Somebody is really tapped into that desire. And you really start to understand this, and you start to help people say yes to what they're truly desiring, and you hold space so that they keep choosing that. They keep choosing themselves in the process of making a decision. Closing becomes a lot easier. And then you're simply holding space for that decision, for that clarity, and for that decision in themselves, whether they choose your product, your service, or something else. But the biggest thing is like staying unattached with that decision. But biggest thing is let them, allow them, hold space for them to say yes to them.
Amazing. That is super, super powerful. Very clear and tangible steps that get you to get a result and help close on the offer, because it's not just creating the offer, it's actually getting the offer sold. And that's a very important component. And I love all this energy and the system that you're bringing to this, Shakti. I really love this. So tell me, what do you see are some of the biggest, what's the most aspiring words you can say for people out there? And what does this all mean for them?
I don't know if what's coming to me right now is there is this next level where you have the opportunity to really grow your impact. This is not even about the money you're going to make. You're going to make a ridiculous amount of money. I know this, you know this. You're going to scale your business to 7 figures, fast track, the easy way. But think about the impact of that. When you have the opportunity to sell your work to organizations, to different groups of people at the same time, to really take what you're offering in maybe a package, right? And then, like, for example, I'll tell you, I was charging $150 a session during pandemic when my studios closed down. And I upgraded that to $12K offer and started doing deeper work with clients. That's what my intuition kept telling me. And now, if I have the opportunity to take that same work that I'm doing in a $12K offer and create 100K so that I impact more people, so that my thought leadership starts to speak at that level, so I bring in a fresh, unique perspective in the world, so that I really start to change lives, much faster and at a more bigger scale. Wouldn't you choose that? Yeah, wouldn't you choose that? And that's exactly what one of my clients did. She created a mindfulness program, and that program could sell to a client maybe for 10K, 20K, 30K. She took that program to a hospital and sold it for 150K for just the same amount or even less work she was doing with one-on-one people before. Yeah, just with like really defining the work clearly and really building it the right way, where you start demonstrating value and you start having structures that are helpful for others to actually lean into your process, really get the transformation, and then they see the difference. If you're willing to really show that pre and post difference, you're willing to really step up as a leader and really allow more and more lives to be touched by your work. This is so easy and so possible, and it's not rocket science. It doesn't take a lot of changes in the work you're doing currently.
Incredible. I love that so much. I could see so much value in that, and how you're shifting it from rather than serving individuals, but taking it to the next level and serving groups organization and industry at a much higher level. That's insanely amazing. Congratulations and well done on that, because that all comes together now, right? And I love that. You've got some great client results, 150K. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I
That's
love that.
one client. And if we like do this right and we go hospital to hospital with, now the IP is created, now the proprietary processes and practices are created, now all the materials that's needed is created, and we go hospital to hospital. This is easy 7-figure business and beyond, actually.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing. Shakti, so tell me, how are people getting hold of you? What is the next steps from here for people to learn more about what you're doing with this incredible system? I love it so much. It makes so much sense. Now that I've heard the whole story, tell me, how can people work with you?
I want to invite the listeners to my signature training, Sovereign, which is a $100,000 offer challenge. And for a whole week, for 5 days, I'll be holding your hand and guiding you through my signature framework, where you are going to be creating your 100K offer. And you're going to be really being clear on how you go about marketing it, how you go about selling it, and you start to take the steps towards launching your offer in the world.
Love that. So guys, link below, there will be a way for you to jump in and learn more about Shakti, and how, if you've ever been stuck wondering about how you can create immense value and serve at the highest level, create a $100,000 offer. I know for some of you might be thinking, wow, that seems impossible. However, Shakti has a proven system that she's using right now to help you do that. She's running a challenge right now that's going to help you break through those limiting beliefs and get to a place where you can confidently sell a $100,000 offer. How amazing is that? If I was you, I'd be jumping in straight away. Get a hold of that link, go and check out Shakti's challenge, and take yourself to that next level. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege hanging out with Shakti today. Shakti, thank you so much for being part of this. You're incredible. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me and for being so present and asking me all great questions. Thank you so much for this conversation, Matthew.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.